What's good, YouTube? This really is a pretty quick video and something I've been circling in my mind for a lot of times, but it's the difference between isolation and solitude. Now, first, all of this is my own opinion, of course, and these are my own definitions. So, first, we're going to start off with solitude. In my opinion, solitude is a choice. Now, the difference between solitude and isolation is solitude is a choice. Isolation is circumstance. So, for instance, say I don't got nobody around me and I'm grinding, right? And I'm like, yo, I ain't gonna lie, I can't do this, I can't do that. Then that's me willingly choosing solitude because I know I gotta get myself together and I gotta focus and I gotta do this and I gotta do that. However, isolation is I don't got anybody around me. I would like to have somebody around me, but I don't got anybody around me. That's isolation because, in a way, the isolation is more so of the circumstance that you would rather have a person by your side, but you don't have a person by your side. And solitude is the action of being by yourself in order to better yourself. So I know this kind of sounds like I'm circling, but if you get it, you get it. If you don't, damn. I was suck at explaining, but I will continue to make more videos like this in order to elaborate and explain more things I think about. Okay, so obviously now we're talking about why is that distinction important. Well, a lot of times people tend to think that isolating themselves is the key to becoming more self-sufficient, if that makes sense. I mean, when you isolate yourself, in a way, that is often a defense mechanism instead of an active choice into finding yourself more deeper, if that makes sense. So, in a way, it's like knowing the difference between solitude and isolation, you could kind of hint out and see where you're going wrong and how many times you shy away from adversity. And we're going to use that word again coming up later, adversity. So the biggest thing I see in a lot of people is that they feel the need to hide themselves away or shut themselves away when they're going through something, which is perfectly reasonable. If you have a side that you don't want to show to others, then you go ahead and do what you got to do in order to, recharge your battery or whatnot. So that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is they use it as an excuse to not allow themselves to connect with people who actually care about them. Now, I ain't gonna lie, this is a topic for another day, but this distinction between isolation and solitude, I feel like it's very important to understand because most of the time when you're in solitude or isolation, and for this topic, doom scrolling, I'm going to talk about that's really you being in isolation. So doom scrolling, in a way, that's kind of like isolation because you are actively trapped behind a screen and the screen got you into scrolling and you're frying your dopamine receptors. But that's, like I said, that's another thing. So basically that puts you in more isolation because instead of getting up and doing something proactive and productive in order to not only connect with others but really connect with yourself, because that's what's most important, people just sit down and doom scroll and forget that hours are going by. So yeah, I feel like there's no distinction between solitude and isolation is important because knowing this, you could kind of figure out that tightrope because these two are pretty similar in just surface level, but when you look at it deeper, you understand that is there's an important underlying fact between those two.